Welcome to DevOps Accents, a podcast on everything around DevOps, public cloud, and cloud-native topics, with your hosts, Pablo, Leo, and Kirill.
Hello and welcome to another episode of DevOps Accent, a podcast where we, the co-founders of MKDev, get together to discuss all things around DevOps and cloud-native technologies with our delicious accents. And today we are together with Pablo and I. Hi, Pablo.
Hello. We are alone again.
Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah, Kirill, as usual, is on vacation.
But he always says that he's never on vacation. You know, it's crazy to hear that, but okay.
Yeah, he's vacating more than you and I combined. I'm envy. But before we continue, before we start, I have a small but very exciting announcement. We recently launched MKDev merchandise shop, where you can order these awesome t-shirts or mugs or stickers or whatever you would like with our cool prints, with our illustration that we create for our articles and for our videos. And we even published a video about how we produce this awesome art, how we create our visual style and what it means. I like this video. I'm very proud of it. Go and check it now. No, actually don't do it now because you have to finish with this episode first. After that, you go and check that video. I have all the links in the description and for the store, for the video, and for everything else to stay in touch with all updates that we have on MKDev. Okay, Pablo, how are you? How your last week been?
I'm fine. So I am proud of your video too. It was
Thank you.
Super cool the edition that you made. You know, because the video is a set of interviews that we have with people in the company, and we all of us we are talking about how is the design of MKDev and why this design and what is the story behind and why all these beautiful ideas that, for example, the t-shirt that I have today, okay, the one that we have every day, and why you, Leo, because you were the first person who created these designs, and how after that, it's Rina who take the responsibility, and it's super cool this video because there are many themes because you're doing another 1,000 of themes that you don't take care of, you don't consider, and you see how Rina is explaining, because really, I never saw Rina working, let's say, making those beautiful pictures. And when you see the result and how she's painting, it's crazy because I was showing to my kids to teach to them how you made these paints and this art. And it's crazy, it's super beautiful, how all this work is done. Because really, it's something that you never do.
Yeah, it's really interesting to dig deeper into understanding how this process works. And we actually have quite funny interaction between Rina and I when we discuss possible articles, what we can do. And I remember we've been laughing so hard when we coming up with the ideas for stickers and for t-shirts for London conference. We had crazy ideas, but in the end we decided that it would be so British people won't understand.
No, but for example, one of the stickers is the dog of the queen. But the thing is that you don't see the dog, you see the back part of the dog.
The hind of the dog, yeah.
Yes, and it's super cool, because it's these little jokes. And in this new set of stickers, okay, this is an old one, it's not a new one, but okay, I think it's I know it's not in my cell phone. In my cell phone I have another. I have the dog here.
Yeah.
This is the ass of the dog. So, but there is one that is a pretzel, but the pretzel is a wire.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's all that mean Bayer and all that mean Munich, together with the technology, because at the end it's a wire with the shape of a pretzel, but at the same time, it's an RJ45. I remember this cable to plug.
Or J11.
Yes, no, it's super good idea.
Yeah, it was very clever thing to come up. And I also had a feedback from Alex, our project manager. He said, like, when I set the task for us to make these interviews, for him it looked like a set of basically random questions, and he was thinking how this will be combined, that it will be non-structured and won't work very well. And in the end, he was pleasantly surprised when he watched the video and it was structured into a narrative. Like we all tell basically the same story, and it looks like we've been asked, or we even coordinated what every one of us says. But in fact, everyone had a complete freedom what to talk about. We just had a set of questions, different questions for all of us, for different people. And it would kind of experiment to me because I didn't know what you will say. And in the end, it turns that we all basically say the same, but in a different words. And it shows how we are, I don't know, united, maybe, how we understand and how we project our thoughts, our ideas, values through the visual. And we basically on the same page. And for me, that was like the most interesting and cool experience to see how that we basically on the same page. And that was cool. That was cool to me. And that's why I like this video a lot.
No, yes, it was. I love it too much. And about your previous questions, how is my week?
Yeah.
This week is super stressed because we are working in a new team that we already have created, that we are working with them, but we are increasing the team because we have a new AI team, artificial intelligence team, and we are looking for new people. And it's complex, because the idea is that there are many people with knowledge in artificial intelligence these days in the market, because it's something that is not new. You can find people with 10 years of experience, because if you start to think the artificial intelligence as a concept, it started in the 80s, 90s, as a concept, like always, in a university, as a concept in a paper, as a concept in many places. But, it's later on in the 20s when appeared, machine learning and many other things when these start to explode. But the thing is that the people today, they don't want to have a machine learning person. And this is, let's say that it's not that they don't want to have a machine learning. What the people want to have is a people with knowledge in LLM, in large language model. And these people has few years of experience, because let's explain. In 2018, if I remember, more or less is when BERT appeared. And BERT is a language model, not a large language model. And this is made by Google. And then the people start to experiment. But all these things that all of us we have seen in the last year, more or less, year and a half, when GPT-3 and GPT-3.5 appeared in the market, and how everything changed, and how everything exploded, it's impossible to find a person that you're telling, okay, I want to have, it's like, I remember years ago, no, I want to have a person with 8 years of experience in Kubernetes. But at the time it was, okay, Kubernetes is only 3 years ago. How do you want, how do you want to have an 8 years experience of Kubernetes? I know, yes, but they want to have an 8 years. And this is what is happening today, because there are people who is telling to you, no, but they want to have a person with 5 years of experience in large language models. But the large language model?
Yeah, it's a new thing related, because, okay.
There are language models, but no large language model, that the way that you need to tune in and you need to work with those are different. But it's a new thing. But it's hard to find people with this experience.
But who are the people who created those large language models in the first place? Were they like machine learning experts, or data analysis or big data analysis experts? like where they came from, like who you are before LLMs appear.
Okay, the first language model, there are many one in the history before, but but the first known language model is BERT. I never know how to pronounce properly. Okay, I always this is the good thing that we are here in this DevOps Accents, because I don't know pronounce properly, but it's called
Large language model.
Yes, BERT. But okay, there is a
BERT.
framework, BERT, BERT.
BERT. Yeah.
But okay, this is made by Google. This is 2018, if I remember properly. And okay, it's something that changed the game. No, it's because there is a algorithms before, like word to vec and framework like sec to sec, different other components that it was in the machine translations and in the machine learning context. But it's different. But in 2018 is when Google introduced this language model that is the one that is going to change the world. But they are doing it the same way that normally Google is doing the things, that we have to say that is something fantastic. Because what happens when you have a company that is making millions, like is Google, that you have this company and you have money enough to allow people to write papers. And it's like a scientific people. They find something and they say, okay, I have an idea. This is the paper. And with this idea, I think that we can create something. And they're able to create this language model. And apart from starting in this point is when in 2019, okay, at this time I started to work with GPT. And in 2018 is when appeared GPT-2.
Mm-hmm.
But we are talking that, let's say that this could be called the first large language model. And what is the difference between a language model and large language model? There are many differences, but okay, the most known difference is the size. So, because when you have a language model, you need to execute a component that is called the fine-tuning. You need to train your model because you have not fine-tuning, sorry, you need to train. You have a model, and then you need to give information, and more information. And what those large language models are doing, and again, we have now Llama, we have now thousands of large language models. What those models are doing is that you are training with millions, not millions, with billions of information.
Mm-hmm.
So you're introducing data and data and data and data. And all of us, we know the example of GPT.
Yes.
GPT is an example that you can talk to with, but it's different GPT with ChatGPT. We can talk with ChatGPT and tell about how big is a ball, or about, tell me the history of Ireland, or you can talk about whatever thing. Because it's trained with thousands of documents and information, plus it's trained in the way that he can speak and in the way that he can answer and he can understand
and imitates the human speech.
Yes, but as all of us we know, is bad in math, because the way that these neural networks are working are different to, are very good for language, but are very bad for math. And this is something that is important. And the problem is next. If you try to find people with, I'm going to give a bad number, 10 years of experience in large language models, it's impossible, because there are people with experience in GPT-2. And in our team, we have people in the CVs, there are people with experience in GPT-2. We're talking 2020, more or less, because the time that it was released with the API is 2020. So there are people with 3 years of experience in LLM. And this is amazing, and this is super cool. But still, it's difficult to have this team, because what the market is requesting is something that there is no match with what the engineers, the QA people, the science, data science people has. Today there is no match.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. Because the companies are requesting something that there is not in the market today yet. In years, I mean.
Let's make one step back for now, because I feel like it's important to discuss, and important for our listeners to understand the difference between large language models, where AI is today, and machine learning in the past and the machine learning of current era, like how we imagine it today. Because I feel we've been teaching people things for like since 2014 at MKDev, and machine learning always been around. At the same time, I remember it was more about it was basically the same thing. You have to make a machine, a computer to learn, to understand things, and you have to tune and train it, like to understand and to make something that a person can't do, and to analyze large chunks of data and to interpret it into more digestible information that our primitive brain can understand. It always was around, but at some point it has changed. And I remember when we've been talking about machine learning and why companies need that, it always being something around business intelligence, when you have to analyze data, when you have to build large reports on something, or I don't know, or maybe even something that I don't understand quite right. But now companies, I feel like many people are suddenly awake because ChatGPT arrived, or other chats, not just GPT, and they suddenly realized that machine learning and that the way how computers learn and what they can do with that, they understood it in a basic and most primitive and most understandable form. And they suddenly decided, yeah, our company needs that too, because why not? Because before that, machine learning was like a complex thing, and not many executives, not many managers could understand what that even means and how they can utilize that in their own company. Because I remember there were people worked with a company and they had a whole department whose only goal, only task was to explain to other people, to their customers, what business intelligence is and how it can improve their businesses and how it can improve sales, reporting, and everything else, because people didn't understand that. And they didn't understand how a machine can replace a person with years and years of experience, and how a machine can spot things, spot similarities, and make prediction based on data better than a human. And they thought that it's a complex. You need a whole department dedicated to it. No, you need just install one application and boom, it works. And it was that difficult back then. But now everyone can just open your phone, and when you go to Bing search or from Microsoft, or I don't know, even Google, and you already have AI generated response in your phone, and you can talk to AI easily, and you see like how it works, and everybody like, oh yeah, this shit works. Yeah, and we should, like, if I can ask my mobile like what to do and how I should structure my business day to be more effective, and I have a result, why do I need my referent? Why do I need my managers? Like the machine can do that. And then I have a question. I'm sorry, Pablo. I know I'm talking too much. We had Siri for how many years now? Okay, but there is a basic difference. Like when you ask Siri, "What's on the news? Give me the result. Find the closest, I don't know, pizza market," and then you ask the same on Snapchat AI. It can do basically the same, but they trained differently, right? One is trained on past algorithms, or I don't know, and one is trained today on today's large language models, something like that. and there is a difference. And that difference is basically the very crucial part in all of that. And we need specialists who not only understand this difference, but can do what exactly?
Okay, first, before we continue on that, there is an understanding that we need to have that LLM or large language models is a subset of machine learning.
Okay.
What I mean with that is that the machine learning is like the thing that covers everything, and then there is
Umbrella term, right?
yes, and there is a subset of these components that is called LLM, that is based in something that is NLP, that is a natural language model, because you train in a different.
Yeah, because like when you train to recognize images or videos, it's machine learning too, right? Image recognition.
Okay, when you train videos too, you can do with a large language model. For example, you have the case to talk about the case now, but everyone you have GPT-3 and GPT-4, and you have daily 3 now. So because when you go now to GPT-4, you have a chat if you want to have this chat GPT. So it's GPT connected to a chat that is talking really is an API talking with the model. But now even you can talk with a variant of this model that is DALI 3 that is allowing you to talk and to explain what kind of image you want to have. The same way that Midjourney is working, because in Midjourney or many others, you tell, okay, Midjourney, I want to have an image of a cat that is dancing on a table, dressed like a gypsy Spanish woman dancing flamenco. You can do that. So in the same way, you can do that today in GPT. The difference is what you were talking. What is the difference between Midjourney? What is the difference between DALI 3 in GPT? There are many. But one of the differences is that, for example, in Midjourney, not talking about the quality of the images, not talking about the concept of the images, because we need to separate two components. One is the language model, the NLP, and how is trained this NLP, how much information do we have in this language model to the natural language be able to understand and be able to talk to you and understand better what you are telling. Because if you have a little language model, or not a little, and not well-trained language model, because this is not like the typical sentence with the sex, as bigger is better. This is not like that here in this case, because has been proven that lower language models can give better approach at huge language model. And even the problem when you reach a level in the size of the language model, those large language models are not able to be working in a GPU, in a GCPU. Then the problem is that you need to split the components. So now the companies are working in little language models, but related to something. And we go now to what is doing GPT. If you go now to GPT, you have a chat to negotiate. You have a chat if you want to talk about whatever thing, imagine art. You want to have a chat, because it's super expensive and really it's not giving to you better approach if you go to a huge language model. But if you have lower sizes, but only specify about this topic, is going to be much better, because it's better for me to talk about, imagine I train a model only to talk about animals in the forest. And you train with this information about animals in the forest and the way to talk and the way to answer. Because, for example, it's not the same language that the lawyer is talking. And when you have a document about a lawyer, it's not the same document. When you talk a lawyer, the lawyer is using words that is not the same. That, for example, I am a technical person, it's not the same language that I'm using as a technical person. But then if a doctor starts to talk, he's speaking English too, for example, or French or Spanish or Italian, but he's using a different language. So if you train a model only for the thing that you want to use for, this model, they don't need to be a huge monster that is going to consume humongous amount of CPU and memory. Could be something little, but even more focused in this task.
Okay, does it mean this model will be better, for example, than GPT? For example,
it's going to be a subset of GPT that will be better in this topic. Yes.
Okay, but I'm trying to imagine like a case for a company that wants an AI department in their own company. Why would they want that instead of just buying a GPT API and train it a bit? Because, so even now, you can go to GPT, even 3.5, even 3.5 has it's this feature. You can create, I don't remember how it called. So you can tell about yourself, and you in a separate window what's you up to, and in a second window you can ask to reply to you in a certain way. For example, you can say that I don't know, I'm looking for a job in this area, and you reply to me as an HR manager always, no matter what we're talking about. And when you ask chat about a random topic, like let's talk about movies, and it will still reply to you as a person who is looking for a job as an HR manager, and it will answer you like, "Stop watching movies. You have to do a job to find, and you have to incorporate this and that into your CV," or something like that. It's already have it. And I, as a company, for example, banking, right? And I can do the same, and I can feed to GPT my data on how my banking works, give it access to some basic clients data. And then when a customer open its banking application to chat with me, instead of connecting it with operator, I can let GPT make its work and answer to them, and let GPT talk to my banking customers. But instead of doing that, they create their own AI department to create their own LLM and train it on their own data.
Not really true. Okay, let's explain that. So
Not really true.
yes, there are few cases that is not for universities or huge companies like Meta, or companies like OpenAI, companies like Google, or things like that they create their own model. Because in case that you want to go to an LLM, and I will explain that, the amount of money, and I'm talking about millions, a lot of millions, that you spend to train a model.
So it's not like creating your own software from scratch. It's like it's much bigger.
The cloud tech industry is evolving so fast. Do you keep up with it by improving your skills or upskilling your team? At MKDev, we offer a variety of workshops for just that, from the basics to expert knowledge. Before delivering our workshops and training sessions, we carry out a detailed assessment of each participant. To make sure the workshop is helpful for you and your team, we will add more content to it or throw out what you already know. Or we create a custom workshop specifically for the needs of your team and the specifics of your project.
Because imagine, it's much bigger, because the idea is next. When you want to compute, you need to put the data in memory if you want to train the models. You know, the idea is how it's working the computers. So imagine that you have a GPU, and then you want to add 32 gigs of memory, but there is not only these 32 gigs, because you need to count with the parameters that you have, because you have a number of parameters that you have when you train a model. Mm-hmm. And those parameters, they need to be in mind that half of these, you have only 16 gigs of memory in one CPU. But okay, you cannot do everything in one CPU. You need to use a big number of CPUs, so you need to parallelize that. There are many papers talking about that. But okay, the idea is that, imagine 1,000 millions of parameters in your model, and you need to put everything in the CPUs and in memory. You need to train all together. Now you can parallelize that, but okay, you need to put all together, and you need to train and train and train, and every time that you do a chain.
But if you train on only one theme, I understand that ChatGPT, they had to train their model.
But it's the same. Imagine your brain. If you only make a chain in the train, you need to. It's not a different compartment. This is neural networks, and many components are together, because the idea how this is working is okay. It's complex to explain, because they can go from left to right to left. You know, for example, when we're talking about this natural language problem, every word that appeared as an answer is a statistical representation of what is the most optimal answer. So, and depends of the language model, depends of because GPT is not working in the same way that, for example, F5 is working, and there are many other languages models. So, some language model, and depends of why do you want to use the language model. The language model can decide, okay, I am going to decide the word not only because imagine that I'm telling you, what is the capital of France? And when you write the capital of France is Paris, you can go in this way, but the answer, word by word, is an algorithmic representation of what is the most optimal. And depends of the algorithm that you're using, and depends of many, many things. And depends if you're checking only left to right, or right to left, or right and left, both at the same time, because you can make a calculation in the same time, the and Paris, and then I go to the center of the center. There are many ways to...
Yeah, I understand. And now I understand what you say. So, but basically what you're saying, you have to train not only how to understand banking, right? You have to teach the AI how to speak first, basically, right?
Yes, because this is not a when you train a model, you are not telling the capital. What is the capital of Paris? And when you write something, you need to answer the capital of France, and you answer the capital of France is Paris. Because what happens is if instead to ask to you, what is the capital of France? I asking you, okay, this is again, there is a country that is between Spain and Andorra and Italy, and I want to know what is the capital of this country. Mm-hmm. The fucking language model is going to answer Paris. So, but this way, not only to understand the question, because first you need to understand, again, we are talking a natural language program, NLP. So we're talking about concepts, variants of the LLM, variants of the machine learning at the beginning that are able to recognize the language. Mm-hmm. That this is what we are talking today, okay? There are many other kinds of artificial intelligence, but we are talking about that. And in this kind of artificial intelligence, the way that is working is like that. So then, if a company wants to train a model from scratch, it's crazy.
Okay.
Because the amount of knowledge that the company needs to have, the amount of time that you need to have is crazy. But now, imagine that I decide that I'm going to use GPT-3, I'm going to use 5, I'm going to use Llama, I'm going to use whatever model because I discovered that for me, this is the model that is better for me. Or there are many ways to later on because you have type FLAM, you have many. You just start to check the amount of language model, you have thousands of language model. Okay, now you have your language model here. I'm going to use this one. And you now want to do what is called fine-tuning. What is the fine-tuning? The fine-tuning is I'm going to take this model and now I'm going to tune in this model to the task that I want to execute. So, and for example, the task that I want to execute is, imagine something simple. I am a doctor, and I want to give a report, and I'm going to change I'm not going to talk to doctors because this is humans, but okay, I'm going to talk about lawyers. Mm-hmm. I am a lawyer, and I'm going to give a case, and I want this intelligence to give to me tips and advice about what can we do in this case. Mm-hmm. So what you can do. So what you can do now is train to the model in this way. You need to give to the model the question and the answer. So because when you
basically, okay, I'm sorry. So basically the companies, what they do today, instead of creating their own model, they license one of the existing models from Google,
exactly,
from Apple, and they train it.
Apple no, but okay, whatever the company says, and they train the models. Yes. They train the models that they are already in the market, and they tune in this model with the themes that they want to do.
Okay, and when we talk about, I'm sorry because I already feel like we are deviating from the topic. Like when we're talking about when the company wants to hire an LLM engineer, they want help in fine-tuning the existing model so that it will help them like take or decide which of the existing model will work the best, and then feed it with their own data and make it work for their own purposes, like you said, for example, for a law firm, or for medical center, so that it can answer to their customer's request as a doctor or as a lawyer without this GPT bullshit, like I'm not a real lawyer and I recommend you to talk to a real person instead of me, or something like that, right? So that's the main reason why companies hiring.
Okay, Yes and no, because this bullshit that you mean depends of how is the model. Because when you do a tuning, you are adding new layers. You are not removing the previous layers.
Okay.
So this bullshit of I am a lawyer, maybe then for your case, it's not good to have a GPT-4. Today, you cannot tune in 4. But okay, they add in the beta last week. And since last week, you can start to tune in 4. And the reason because they start to do these subsets of GPT-4, it was because it's too huge to tune in, and then they want to do it in a different way. But what I was telling, but what is doing a LLM engineer or AI LLM engineer? He's doing that, but plus we need to discover something. We need to think about something. The first step is in a company who wants to use, I am working in a company, and this company, they want to use AI. And this is something that happens in many cases. I want to use AI, but I have no idea where. But well, how is that working? How is that you want to use something, but you don't know where? It's like, I want to hire this person, but I don't know what this person is going to do. But then don't hire this person, no? If you don't know why to hire this person. But we need to think something these days. And there is something very important, that is the marketing. Because it's super important to understand. And in the dispatch that I wrote this week, I was talking about something that a coffee with AI, everyone knows that tastes better than a coffee without AI. So if you have an application with AI, that is, you are telling to the application, hey, I want to have a coffee. Just don't worry, I will bring you this latte macchiato because I know that this is the one that you taste, you love much because you tried 20, and then you order automatically for you a latte macchiato, and you don't need to think if you wanted to have a cappuccino, a latte macchiato, but this intelligent order for you, this coffee is going to taste much better than the one that if you need to think. It's a joke, but okay, the idea is that if a company is doing A and another company is doing B, the same A, but the first company is without AI, but the second is with AI, many customers are going to use the one with AI because it's how marketing works. You have no idea why you love to use AI, but you love to use AI. And then you prefer to use something with AI because you see these days, everyone is telling to you AI. And all of us, we remember this keytone about when they presented the result 6 months ago, 6 months ago, yes, Google, Amazon, Apple, everyone was telling the word AI every 5 seconds. AI.
Yeah.
Because there is a war, and this war now is dominated by the OpenAI and Microsoft. But Google is telling, okay, but I create this toy. So I am the guy who created this fucking toy. So you need to play with me too. But now Apple is telling, okay, but I need to do that too. And Amazon and the other. And everyone tried to talk about AI because these days is the game changer. And in the same way that Bitcoin, it was game changer a few years ago. In the same way that internet was a game changer years ago, AI is a game changer. And everyone needs AI. And not because you need AI. It's because the people that use your tools need to see that you have AI. So then, for that reason, the first thing that you need to have is a case where I can use AI. So we're talking about many cases. It depends on what is your company doing. But imagine this case, you're a coffee shop machine with an app. You can use AI, for example, to tell to your customers, okay, maybe you can try this one because I know what you like, because I saw what you have been tasting the last 3 years. And I would recommend you to try this one because I have to mind that it's going to be very good for you. And when you have this idea, you need to decide what is the best language model for you.
Yeah.
Because it's what I was telling, because you cannot go to, now I'm going to use GPT-4.
Why? Yeah, why
In mind that it's not beta anymore, yes. But why GPT-4 and not a 5? And why not Llama? But this is why you need to have a huge model, because the only thing that you're going to use this model for your customers is to talk with your customer and to tell to your customer, what is the best coffee that you can try? Because I am not going to have a best friend with this automation. It's not going to be my best friend. So this is only going to be a tool that is going to recommend to me best coffee, depends of the coffee that I already tasted, and we can have a conversation, a little conversation. But do you think that this is going to be because maybe it's so sweety? No, don't worry, because it only have 300 calories, blah, blah, blah. So maybe to do that, you don't need to have even a large language model. You have only something simple that is able to understand 10 languages because it's the customer they have. And then because you have 10 customers, I don't care if you're talking to me directly in English, in French, in Russian, in Italian, Spanish. I'm going to understand everything, every language, and I'm going to answer back to you in your language. Plus, I'm going to give you all information about that. If you talk to me about, I don't know, what is the recipe of chocolate cake, you are not going to answer to me. You're going to tell me a story, but I only been trained for that.
The other day.
So, and this is good. I mean, and in those cases, for example, you need an LLM engineer. So in these cases, you don't need a QA AI guy because you don't need that. But in these cases, maybe you need a data science too, because he can help you to decide how to structure this data, how to locate this data, how to connect with the APIs. Because at the end, this is a component that needs to be later on connected to the whole atmosphere of the company, because this is something that even needs to be only for you. It needs to be enclosed in so cannot be open for everyone, because the customers are going to throw information that you don't want to be public. And then maybe the model needs to be in your own machines, maybe.
Yeah.
And then you want to fine tuning with your own GPUs and all these things.
Like in isolated environment, right?
Exactly. So, and all these things is where these people is coming at the beginning, and we didn't code yet anything. We're only taking decisions. But you need people with this experience, with different use cases that can tell you, guy, don't go to GPT-4 because this is going to be millions, and you can go to this 5 that is much better for you.
I have, while you were talking, I have like more grounded example, and I think that most of our listeners could relate to. Like even when you work in a large company and you have all this automated test environment that help you with code review and feedback loop and everything else. And if you incorporate large language model into that understands code, that understands what you are trying to do rather than simply checking on syntaxes, right? It can read your code and it can understand what you want, what you are trying to the result that you are trying to achieve with this exact piece of code. And it can comment on this piece of code instead of highlighting the syntax errors. It can give you a comment, and suddenly your job becomes so much more productive, and you can basically eliminate a number of people in your company and replace it with this AI model, language model that comments on the code.
But you replace with AI people, because
yeah, you still have to tune it.
Yeah, for sure. At the end, you need people. It's because there will be a change in the words, because when this GPT-3 appears, there is a famous guy here in Spain who had a company that he was doing something. He was having a company making summaries of books. So when you have a book, you need to have a guy who is making a summary of the book.
Okay, yeah.
So there is a person who is reading the book and then is writing a summary. So, and he had a company doing that for many, many companies. Give me a document, 300 pages, I will make a summary for you. 20 pages summary. So it was doing clever summaries of these things. So I don't need this company anymore, because you can introduce now 300 pages in whatever model, 500 pages, and you throw the model, so the pages to the model, and then the model came back to me with a summary in 20 seconds. So, and then why I need this? But this guy is going to be fired. But at the same time, there will be a new guy who needs to be AI engineer. We need to have a QA engineer. We have to QA AI. We need to have a data science AI. We need to have a team lead AI. We are fighting in the size for sure, but we need to have new people here. And this guy who has been fired needs to be trained in different things. And this person, and this is the problem now, because these people who is doing today tasks that can be replaced, but don't go so far away, because even all the cloud and DevOps engineers, in most of the cases, can be replaced. Because tell me, what is an NLP, natural language? What is a code like, for example, Terraform? It's a language.
It's a language, right?
You can get a Python. You can get this, because today you can get an automation that is talking with an API, with a model, and telling, I need to have a Terraform code that is able to deploy all this infra that is trained on your model. And the infra, how is working the infra. And every time that there is a change in the infra, you are trained again with this new infra. And I can tell to you, I want you to create a Terraform code that is able to create a new EC2 instance in AWS with these resources, and please apply this one, connect to the pipeline, make a pull request, and as soon as I approve the pull request, you can merge, and then the code will deploy. We need to test first in UAT, then we go to staging, and then we go to dev, UAT, and prof, and then we deploy. You can do that today. So with the knowledge that we have today, you can do that. The only thing is that you need to train a model in this way, but can be done. It's feasible to be done. For sure it is. So, and what is going to happen with this guy who gets, imagine, 800 euros per day, a contractor, or even permanent, that is doing that? He's not going to be hired anymore. But what is going to do this guy? This guy needs to be working to another thing. When I started to work, I was working in AIX and HPUX, Unix operating system. Who is working in this one? Nobody today. Okay, maybe 200 people in USA. That's all. So you need to change the topic. So there is no other way.
And what skills and qualifications this person need to master in order to be able to switch, to LLM engineer or NLP engineer? For example, I've been looking through a number of CVs this past week. And I've been specifying that I'm looking for a person with at least a number of years in LLM and a number of years with experience with AI. And I had a couple of resumes where a person states that they have 1 year experience with the AI. And when I look through their CV, it appears that their experience with AI is basically creating a simple tool based on GPT API. Can we consider this as experience with AI? Because from this perspective, everyone have experience with AI.
Everything is an experience, but okay, we need to differentiate between what is the experience I have in the university where you made a project. That these people is important, because these people is important because all the papers are made by these kind of people, and this is the game changer. But we need to differentiate with the people who said, okay, I have an experience of 1 year at my home, planning, like when we, you want to make a video and you play at home, to have the experience with a real project. That this is different, because when you are working, but because AI experience, you can find people with 10, 15 years of experience. Again, we back again to the beginning, that in 1980, so 1990s, 40, 30 years ago is when all these concepts appear. And there are many companies working with machine learning many years ago. Many people is working with that. It's not something that is new. So again, this is machine learning. And a subset of machine learning is the language model connected to the natural, the way that I understand what you are talking. Because it's not something new that when you have your iPhone or your whatever cell phone, you're going to take a photo, he recognizes the face, and then when recognize the face, is able to get right to this area. This is made by a model, but it's not an NLP model, but it's made by a model that understands that this is a face, whatever camera recognition, face recognition is doing that. Understand that this is a face and it's going to get right to this one.
Yeah.
This is artificial intelligence. Of course that this is artificial intelligence. But always, you have a photo and the photo is blurred, or a video, and all video is blurred. I am able to now these days to click a button and perfect. It's not blurred anymore. Mm-hmm. This is artificial intelligence, of course, and this is working in Photoshop since many, many years. But the difference is that this is a model with a machine learning that is trained with a statistical combination to be able to understand what is happening, what is today, and what is the final that I want to have. After many and many, many tests, you are tuning with the statistical data until you get a perfect match. But what we are talking now is about LLMs, and we're not talking about, imagine that a machine learning with this kind of model, they can have, imagine, 1 million of data, of parameters. We are talking about trillions and quadrillions. Mm-hmm. We are talking about, it's like if you compare the moon and one of these huge suns that are in the space. It's something completely different in the size level, and even different in the way that when you're talking about this camera, mm-hmm. the camera did not need, the camera is not talking. So the camera is not telling to, hey, can you see a face in this photo? Yes, I see a photo here, a face here. Okay, could you give, it's not working in this way. And for this reason, it's different. And because it's different, we need to give even the way to express like a human and understand languages. Mm-hmm. Or not like a human, because if you understand Python, you're understanding a language. You don't need to talk to me, but you need to understand that when I throw to your input this language, you need to understand how this is working. And we're back again to how we are doing the tuning, the fine tuning or the training. The idea is that I give to you, imagine, I wrote to you a test about I'm talking about this example that we had before about this, how to summarize books. I have give to you a page and I tell it to you. And I give the question and the answer. Okay. Give me a summary of this test. And then back at the same place, the same info that I'm going to throw it to my machine learning, to my model, I'm telling the summary of this test is that and that and that and that. And I'm doing that 100,000 times. Depends of the model, depends of what I want to train. Maybe I need to do that 5,000 times. Maybe I need to do that 1 million times. Because there is a curve that is telling, depends of what you are training, what is the time that you need to train. So, and depends of that, I'm giving information, and at the end, the model is able to answer in the way that I want to answer. And this is a work that needs to be done. And we need to have people that is able to introduce 1 million chunks of data with question and answers. Mm-hmm. And we need to have these summaries made. So we need a human that is summarizing this test and giving the question and the answer, question, answer in this example. And for sure that you need money and time to do that. Because this is this kind of example, but in the same way that you have this example, imagine that you are a company who are selling tickets to whatever company, you need to train this chat for that. And then when you go to this level is, okay, if I only want to have this simple question, why I need to have this huge model? So, and then because we decide first where we want to have AI, because these days you need AI because of marketing things or because the company really needs AI. Then we choose the model and we train the model. We find the model and we discover that the model now is working fine. And now it's coming another step. That the step is how to connect everything with my company. Mm-hmm. Because I need to connect all these things with my app. Where to connect with my app? Where is the infra? How is the infra? And then here we're back to people with knowledge in AWS, people in Google Cloud, in Azure, people with Terraform, with many, many other themes, developers, because you need Python developers everywhere. You need many developers. I say Python because most of the best libraries for these language models,
yeah, they're written in Python.
Made in Python. So you need even, because this is super important you are going to introduce something that could generate problems because it's not under control. Because when you have a tool that when you click a button in the browser, you need 100% what is going to happen, unless that there is a bug. You're going to click here and you're going to the web page that is going to open another page to buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. But now it's not like that. Now you made a question really, you have no fucking clue what is going to be the answer. So because you write to this model that you train, hey, could you give me the information of that? And really, you have no idea 100% what is going to be the answer, because it's impossible, because you train with 1 million of question plus everything that was in the model. So it's not only what you train, it's the train that you made plus the train that you didn't make.
Yes.
Because you're coming with a model that is already trained by some people, plus you train with your info. Now, you don't know what is going to come.
And what I was trying to say, this example with ticket sales, right? So we already have, I can set departure and destination, and the application will find me the most optimal route with, with changes and whatnot. But for example, if we incorporate AI here, we can discuss my plans for vacation, what I would like to visit, and it will create not like the most optimal, but a road with the most beautiful areas to visit, because it knows. And at the same time, this model have to not only to reply to you, but at the same time, it have to have access to your database to see tickets, flights numbers, and whatnot, and operate with that and not make a mistake. And that's a kind of a large amount of job to do, and to make your database, your own database, your own infrastructure, and a trained model to work together seamlessly. And when I try to think about a person who can do that, they have to be experienced in so many areas. So I think that all of us who have DevOps experience, programming experience, we have to add AI into our portfolio like yesterday. To be viable tomorrow, right? Because we already need these people.
Because there is another component that I did not display yet, but that is called the agents. That this is giving even more, let's say solution, but at the same time problems. Because in all this unknown answer, we are adding the agents. And what is an agent? An agent is something that is able to execute a task. Because what happened with AI? AI is only, you are answering to me with tests. No, AI, sorry. LLM connected to NLP are only giving to you an answer. Okay, but I don't want to have an answer because I have a tool. So I want you to execute an action. So when you take a decision, you take a decision. And this agent is telling, for example, imagine, what is the best place? This is the typical example. What is the best place to go in summer? Okay, in summer you can go to the south of Spain. Okay, I have free time from 8 to 15 of August. Okay, don't worry. How many people are? Okay, we are 3. How many kids? 1. Okay, I'm going to buy to you 2-3 tickets. Okay, give me your credit card. So this is something that you need to train to. That is a task that you need to execute when the model is answering. So it's not only giving you need to give a flow of what is the next step on the conversation to try to introduce in this funnel, that you want to make a sell. And then it's going to execute a task. And the task is something that we back again to the problem that we don't have the 100% certainty that what is going to do the LLM is what you want to do. Because this is one of the main problems here, because you know that it's going to do something, but you don't know that it's really going to do something. Because you train this machine to always go to this funnel, okay, and now buy the ticket from, imagine, Madrid to El Cairo. But maybe from 18 to 25, but could be the case that for some concept that he misunderstood, he buy a ticket to Moscow from the 9 to the 15 in the next 5 years. So maybe he buy a ticket every 5 days. And this is something that could happen because you are giving to this LLM the capacity to do that. And all of us, we have been talking with, and they say talking because it's talking, with a GPT-4 or with BERT or with whatever other intelligence, and we always detect that it's doing stupid things. And all of us, we detect that when you say, but you're wrong, when he's right. And he says, okay, yes, I am wrong. And all these kind of things you can trick, and then could be a person who is trying to make in bad way to make this agent to give an answer and to execute a task that is not the one that they want to execute to later on complain on you. So what I mean is that you're opening a door that today this door is not so well defended, and you are opening a door that is something that for that reason is good. I mean that you need a lot of training and a lot of QA, and this is when the QA people comes, because QA needs to be so bad to be able to train all these kind of answer in case that you add agents to be able to answer all these kind of problems. And this is what I mean, it's not as simple as, oh, no, okay, I'm going to add AI in my company. Okay, cool. So what you want to do? No, I want to have that. Okay, that's all. Here it is. It's a super complex model because you don't have certainty that what is going to answer or what is going to execute is what you want to execute. And for that, you need a huge team, experimented team. That's, for example, the one that we are creating and the one that we currently have, to be able to help the customers, because without this knowledge, you cannot do anything. You are lost.
This is a very exciting times, actually, because it's exciting for us. It's exciting for our clients, because now I feel we can ideate together how to make your company more viable, how to implement new things, and so many new opportunities emerge just from discussing how you can implement this and how it might work, what might work, what will not work. And this creates a whole new area to discuss and a whole new, I think, industry. And I feel like a lot of people should be excited about it and should not just look at that, but should just go into that like right now, join this initiative with us and try to okay, we would just take a basic idea, basic functionality in your company, in your application that you use, and just think about it, how you can make it better if you implement LLM into that, and imagine how it will be improved. And then you can go and pitch it to your manager. And trust me, they will be excited. I guess it's a wrap for today. Thank you, Pablo. This was a very interesting discussion. I not only just learned so many more, I just have so many ideas what we are going to talk about with our own customers. And yeah, those who are listening to us on Spotify, give us a share. Those who listen to us on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. And go to the description. There will be all the links we mentioned today for you to read. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to our MKDev Dispatch newsletter, where we share all our thoughts, our news, and everything around MKDev. Thank you, all of us who've been with us this 1 hour and a little bit more. And thank you, Pablo, for being here with me.
A pleasure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you next time.
There are no challenges that we couldn't overcome. Whether it is immediate infrastructure problems or planning a future project, we won't simply answer your questions. We become a part of your team to help you complete the mission. Our solutions consider the interests of your business and the combined expertise of the industry, as our staff is made up of more than a dozen experts in different areas who share decades of field-tested experience and knowledge with you.